This is Force 13's update on Hurricane Harvey, which is continuing to move towards the coast of Texas and likely to make landfall there later tonight. As of 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time, the update's just come out. The National Hurricane Center say it's got winds of 110 miles per hour and a pressure of 947 millibars. The Hurricane Watch south of Port Mansfield, Texas, to the mouth of the Rio Grande has been discontinued. A storm surge warning remains in effect for Port Mansfield to High Island, Texas. A storm surge watch for south of Port Mansfield to the mouth of the Rio Grande. A hurricane warning for Port Mansfield to Sargent, Texas. A tropical storm warning for north of Sargent to High Island, Texas, and south of Port Mansfield to the mouth of the Rio Grande, and a tropical storm watch for south of the mouth of the Rio Grande to Boca de Raton, Mexico. Obviously still a very serious situation, and rainfall amounts are likely to exceed 20 inches across large parts of southeastern Texas. I'm joined by Devon for this short update, and whilst I show everyone the latest infrared imagery, what are your thoughts?
Well, the eye is definitely opening up a bit. As you can see on IR, it's really opening up clearly. The western eye wall, however, seems to be degrading quickly, possibly due to land interaction, possibly due to running out of ocean heat content as well. You can also see very clearly, starting on the south of the storm and wrapping all the way around to the north into the western eye wall, there's definitely a slot of dry air that's getting into the storm as well. It would seem to me that the storm has reached its peak intensity, although it's not 100% certain that it has. This storm will likely continue to be a borderline category 2 or 3 all the way up until its landfall in the Corpus Christi area. And once it moves inland, it's expected to stall, and the real serious danger of this storm will start to happen as expected to stall and then potentially turn back towards the Gulf of Mexico, dumping potentially 25 to 35 inches of rain along the coastal areas of Texas.
And tropical storm conditions already beginning right now or about to on land?
Tropical storm force wind should definitely already be experienced, especially in the Brownsville and Corpus Christi areas. I'll be very surprised if they aren't being experienced right now. The hurricane force winds, since the storm is really small, is probably still a few hours away yet. However, it is far too late to be doing any more preparations for this storm. If you're in the path of this storm, it's best to just stay indoors and stay in an interior room until this storm is over. It is far too dangerous to be outside in the storm right now.
And the radar imagery is pretty interesting as well. You've got a first band which is about to move ashore now with some yellow-orange areas on that radar scope there. And there's sort of like 3 other bands between it and the eye. Still one eye wall, right?
It's looking like it, although that eye wall is seemingly starting to degrade. I don't know what the radar looks like. I don't have it directly in front of me, but it does appear that the storm is showing some sort of degrading. That doesn't mean, however, not to take this storm seriously. This is still a very serious storm. Stage 4 on the cyclone destruction potential scale potentially could get up to a 5 by the time it reaches landfall. And anything above a 3 is a potential billion-dollar disaster. Yeah. So this is an extremely serious storm that definitely should have been taken seriously.
It's almost guaranteed to be a billion-dollar disaster, just speaking from a realist point of view. But the National Hurricane Center think it will still get to 120 miles per hour before landfall. Somehow, your thoughts, Devon, on whether it's a Category 3 or not right now?
It's the recon that's been going through the storm, it hasn't been picking up any kind of Category 3 winds. It's even been struggling to pick up Category 2 winds at the surface despite having a pressure of 949 millibars. So it's weird that maybe the storm's winds just haven't caught up to the pressure yet, but recon's yet to find the Category 3 force winds that would be associated with the 940
Yeah.
millibar pressure.
And you can't really use the Alex excuse either, because Alex was a huge storm and this isn't in comparison.
This is an extremely tiny system. Even relatively tiny. I mean, tropical storm force winds still extend 130 miles out from the center, and hurricane force winds still extend out 35 miles from the center. But in hurricane terms, that's actually really tiny. Usually, the tropical storm force winds extend out 150 miles plus, and the storm's not doing that.
Finally, the National Hurricane Center think that it will remain as a hurricane 24 hours after landfall. I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah, I think this has to do with how close they're expecting this storm to parallel the coast. It's still in the cone's realm of possibility that this storm doesn't even make a landfall and just stalls off the coast. That would be a pretty bad situation, obviously. The rain would still be there, and the storm would still more likely be packing tropical storm force winds near its center. So that's probably why they still have the hurricane 24 hours inland, is because it's still in the realm of possibility that this storm doesn't even get inland. If it does get inland, it should deteriorate quickly. It just depends on how far it gets inland and how long it's inland.
Uncertainty around whether the National Hurricane Center's current forecast will verify in how it moves back out over the coast and then moves back into Texas yet again, just east of Galveston. Do you think it is going to... any chance that it will move back out over the open Gulf?
If this thing does end up moving back out over the open, again, this is really it really all depends on how long the storm's overland. If it does move out into the open Gulf, it is likely that the storm's conditions would have deteriorated enough that we wouldn't see too quickly a strengthening. We could also see something similar to Allison back in 2001, where it would undergo a subtropical transition and actually start intensifying over the marshlands of Louisiana. Though I think that is probably a little unlikely here.
Wow.
The thing is though, is that the main concern about this storm is going to be, well, one, the immediate impacts of the landfall. You're going to have the storm surge, the 6 to 12 feet of surge coming into the bays. So you have to be prepared for that. And you also have to be prepared for 100 mile per hour Category 2 wind gusts, at least. And that's a significant concern. But the main concern with it after that is going to be the 25 to 35 inches of rainfall that could fall along the Texas coastline.
And we'll be watching it very closely throughout this evening. We're doing updates in English and Spanish this evening, I believe, with the help of Cesar over in Mexico. We're all watching the storm very closely, and we will definitely be live again later tonight at 8 p.m. UTC, and we will be going potentially up until landfall. I'm not quite sure how the schedule is going to work out, but there will be plenty of time to get in your questions for us and anything that needs to be addressed. But that's all from us here, and we'll be back again soon with another update.